employment is much better than self-employment. Okay, somewhere I think the entire motivation industry has kind of degraded the virtue of employment, saying, oh, if you're in a job, you're working for someone else, you're making their dreams come true. I don't subscribe or prescribe that philosophy.
Welcome to Building Blocks. I'm here with Rajiv Talreja, author of Lead or Bleed, which is this immense book about business consulting and how to survive in the business world.
Yeah. So, that's the book. It's gone crazy. It did way more than what I expected it to do, in all honesty.
Yeah, I love how off camera you're telling me it was more of a research project than anything else, and it turned you into this author.
Yeah.
So, let's give it a shot.
Awesome.
Where do you want to start, green or red?
You said the green ones are the easier questions, the red ones are the difficult ones.
Right.
I'm going to go for the red one. Let's see how difficult is difficult.
The man who somehow got an accidental bestseller.
Okay.
You've got a nickname, the ROI guy.
Okay.
Return on investment guy.
Okay.
Is that something you're happy with? Do you want to just be known as a return on investment guy, or do you want to be known for something more?
So I like that because I'll tell you the story behind it. I started as a 20-year-old kid wanting to go out there and teach corporates how to increase their business. Now, obviously, no corporate would want to learn from a 20-year-old kid. And the first person I had to sell the business idea to was my dad. My dad is an 8th standard dropout, retailer, first generation entrepreneur, Sindhi businessman. So, when I was trying to explain to him about the training business, he asked me a simple question: why would anybody pay you money? And I said, because by learning, their capabilities will improve, and when their capabilities improve, their performance improves and their results improve. So he asked me a simple thing. He said, okay, you train my staff, only if their results go up, I will give you the money. So he was thinking like a true Sindhi businessman. And which got me thinking that at the end of the day, people buy results. Yeah. Nobody wants to buy motivation. Motivation is available for free everywhere.
Yeah, it's too subjective. No one knows what it is. Yeah.
So I started that way by telling my clients that, hey, listen, don't pay me a penny. Let me work with your team. Tell me a goal. Let us achieve that goal. Pay me on the performance that your team produces. And that kind of earned me this crown called ROI guy. I enjoy it because at the end of the day, I truly believe that as a business coach, if I am working with a business and if the business is not growing, my communication capabilities matter zero.
Yeah,
right.
You can sell all you want, but you don't deliver.
Like a batsman is as good as the runs he scores, a business coach is as good as the growth he creates. That's the way I see it.
All right, good answer. Yeah. So, you gonna go for red again or?
Okay, this one's tricky. Where do you pull one out from? Okay, let's go.
You work with a lot of startup guys. So, one for them, a simple question. If you go for a round of funding, say you want to raise 5 crores. Someone walks up to you, one of the funders, the only guy who's willing to fund you, and he goes, listen, I can either give you 2.5 crores or I can give you 10 crores.
Okay.
What do you take?
I wouldn't take the money from this guy.
At all?
I'd find someone else. Because at the end of the day, I feel that your investor cannot become a liability.
Okay, so it's that important. What if you're at the end of your rope, out of your bootstrap money?
End of your rope, then probably I'd go with 2.5.
Yeah, lower, not higher.
Yeah, lower, not higher. Because you know what? Somewhere what amazes me is the speed at which people are burning money. It's fascinating. Okay, it's like, yeah, I know we are proud that today the entrepreneurship ecosystem is growing in India and all of that.
Right.
But I also feel that there's too much noise.
Yeah.
There's too much of a facade there.
There's too many games.
There's no value creation. There's no value creation for the customer. There's no value creation for the investor. There's no value creation for yourself as an entrepreneur or your team. But just the joy of having the tag that I'm an entrepreneur is moving a lot of people into this new fashionable world called entrepreneurship. And
something to put in.
And then they're giving you irrational projections, and I think investors have gotten smarter. 2012, if you would ask me the same question, there was a lot of fear of missing out. So everybody was giving money to anybody. I'm glad investors have gotten smarter, and that's the reason why I would say, according to me, money is not the key resource in a business to scale it up. Okay, it's the right business model, it's the right marketing idea that will make sure that you have the right customer. Okay, and once you have that, and once you have something that is proven, then you can replicate it by investing more money into it. But if you're going to blow a lot of money just in testing, that's a lot of money lost.
Yeah.
So
fair enough.
I would go, I'm conservative. I'm Sindhi. Let me remind you. Yeah.
Your dad would be proud.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alright.
Okay, my turn.
Ah, so you like the easy questions.
I'm just trying to see which one.
Oh, that actually might pull it out real fast. Ah.
Okay.
So you've, like you said, you've been entrepreneur since you were in senior year of college.
College, yes.
And you say you've been a failed entrepreneur, you've been an author, you're back to being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, your entrepreneurial business is consultancy.
Yes.
So, simple question. Startup owner or consultant? What's more fun?
So in all honesty, I don't see myself as a consultant. I see myself more as an entrepreneur.
Okay.
Purely because just the first thing I tell people when they sign up on working with us, I tell them that most trainers, coaches and consultants have no idea what they're talking about. Okay. And
that's one way to sell a leadership coach.
and I always tell them that whatever we work with you on is not as a trainer, coach or consultant. Okay. It's more as an entrepreneur. And that's why we've been so successful in scaling our business to 5 countries now. Because at the end of the day, what we bring to the table is not just feel-good talk.
Right.
It's functional expertise. Working with them on breaking their business model down to make it profitable and scalable. Working with them on marketing strategies where they're not consuming too much money, but reaching to the right customer and are attracting that customer. Working with them on building sales teams, because I truly believe that for most entrepreneurs the challenge is that apart from them nobody can sell well in their business. So how do you build a scalable sales team? So we're talking about functional expertise that every business requires, and I don't think you can pull off that functional expertise by just giving people advice or just by reading some books or downloading some presentations out of SlideShare, right? So I look at myself more as an entrepreneur, and the reason I work with so many other entrepreneurs is because personally I have gone through the journey of starting 5 ventures, 2 went bust, 3 work without me today, and so I know the mechanics of what does it take to build a successful business and what does it take even to fail in a business.
Right.
So that is the expertise that we are passing on to the businesses that we are working with.
Okay.
So I would say entrepreneur first.
Entrepreneur first.
Any day.
Alright, that's a great clear answer then.
Yeah.
Alright, what do you got?
Too much of a risk.
This green one's really stuck in there.
Let's take one right.
Okay. Lead or Bleed, your book, talks a lot about how to change the habits of an entrepreneur, a startup guy. Because you walk in there, a lot of the time, like you said, you're running the business, you're running the sales, you're running the operations, you don't trust anyone else.
Yeah.
So these guys come to you and say, I've got this problem, I need your help. But there are obviously a lot of startup guys across the country who just don't have the right company. They've somehow managed to raise money for a company that doesn't work.
Yeah.
So how do you draw that line and say, hey, you're doing a good job, your company isn't worth what you're doing?
Okay.
Where is that line?
So in my head, the right ingredients for a business is, it starts with the right business model, which means clarity of who is your customer, what's the problem you're solving, and is your product or service something that the customer is willing to spend money on.
Okay.
And so the first thing we look at is the business model. Okay, is the entrepreneur clear about whose problem is he solving, and is that person, is that target audience willing to spend money on solving this problem? Okay. And from there is where we break down the business into what is required to make this business scalable now. What is the kind of team required? What are the kind of systems required? What are the kind of strategies required? What's the kind of money required to be able to scale this business? So we've kind of figured out this template where I always say this to entrepreneurs: spend 10 minutes with me and I'll tell you where you're going. Either you're going to make money, or you're going to shut your shop, or you're going to continue in denial saying someday somehow life is going to become fine. Because that's the bigger bug, you know.
Yeah, that happens a lot, right?
Absolutely. I always say this to entrepreneurs that employment is much better than self-employment. Okay. Somewhere I think the entire motivation industry has kind of degraded the virtue of employment, saying, oh, if you're in a job, you're working for someone else, you're making their dreams come true. I don't subscribe or prescribe that philosophy. I feel that there are many workplaces today which provide a great environment of learning, a great career, great quality of life, good pay. And if that meets the needs of an individual, I don't think anybody has the right to write them off saying, oh, you're in a job. Okay?
You're not giving your best.
Yeah, you are in the rat race.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something. The truth is, most entrepreneurs are in a rat race in compared to employees. Okay, I know entrepreneurs with manufacturing units, 500 employees. Their receptionist will have a plot of land and assets, and the entrepreneur will not have anything to his name. Okay, so the reason I come after this thought process where people say employment sucks and entrepreneurship is everything is I say entrepreneurship is great. Entrepreneurship is the best way of wealth creation. It's the best way of exploring yourself. But you got to be clear that you're not stuck in this trap of self-employment where your business is not scalable. You are doing everything in the business. You're obsessed with the idea. You're just attached to the idea because you came up with it.
It's your idea, so
and you're not challenging yourself if the results are speaking otherwise. Okay. So
you're not listening to the responses.
Yes, you're not listening to the responses, and yeah, you can probably convince yourself every day saying Steve Jobs started from a garage, he did this and I did that, because you know what, this is a story, this is a script that has been painted by the personal development industry. You open a YouTube video, they tell you it's all about sacrifice, it's about failing, okay, and
breaking the cycle.
My job, in all honesty, is to bring in a reality check. I'm not a big fan of positive thinking, I'm a big fan of real thinking.
Oh, how? Okay.
So that, and I think successful businesses are built on being real rather than just being positive.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the way I see it.
Okay. Well, let's see how real you can get.
Okay.
Can you get something out here?
You're playing too much with it. Okay.
Got one? Alright.
Here we go.
This is my problem. I keep getting people who are very competitive. Yeah. I really struggle to win this. In the distant future, your kid comes to you. He's 17, he's 18, just finishing high school, and you're expecting him to go to college, right? He comes to you and he says, I don't want a college degree. I want to start a business completely from scratch.
Okay.
Do you let him do that, or do you say, no, college degree is important, you got to learn skills, you got to do this?
In all honesty, I wouldn't allow my kid to go to college.
Oh, you've gone completely the other direction, right?
Okay. I'm not saying this because I'm on camera right now, but me and my wife have spoken about it. We probably put our kid to school up to a certain age and then we'd homeschool the kid. Look, I am disappointed with the education system here in India. Okay, the quality of education, say for example, the quality of an MBA program. I don't have complaints against the obvious institutes like the IIMs and all of that. I think they're phenomenal. And I think the right time for a person to get into one of these top B schools is after 5 to 7 years of work experience.
Okay, not straight out of school.
Not straight out. The challenge I have today with the way the ultimate Indian career plan goes is that if after graduation you don't land a job, most people apply for post-graduation.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so
post-grad is seen as part of the career.
And parents are happy to invest in post-graduation because they still think, oh, my child is going through education. What they don't understand is the child is unemployable. Okay, and that's why he's taking the escape route of education to have fun in the university for a couple of more years. Okay, for me, the quality of post-graduation education in India is a joke for the fact that 90% of the B schools in India, in their prospectus when they're advertising themselves, are talking to you about how big the swimming pool on campus is, which brand of laptop they're going to give you free on admission, and they're going to take you for an education tour to Bangkok. Okay, that's a joke. Okay. And I find that so fascinating that these acres of land have turned into B schools because it's just a good revenue proposition for maintenance of that land. And in India, education gets consumed like nothing else gets consumed. Whether there's a recession or there's not, people want education. They feel good. I always say this, MBA, Ma Baap Par Ehsan, that's what it is. It helps you as a great negotiation tool in dowry value increase, right? So, my theory on post-graduation education is that you got to get your hands dirty either working in a job or being an entrepreneur for at least 5 or 7 years before post-graduation education makes sense, and only do it with the best. Hold. Okay, let's see if this holds.
Oh, that's a tough one. Oh, not bad.
That holds. Yes.
Slightly more famous sayings in the book and in the articles is that people should hire startup entrepreneurs should hire people to make money, not after you make money.
Yeah.
But how does that stand up to these big businesses like an Instagram who sold out with 11 people?
Yes.
So how do those two ideas relate? Isn't that a contradiction?
So I'm not talking about mass hiring. Okay. As long as there is work of 11 people and there are 11 people plugging in the gaps to row the boat, perfect. Okay. So I'm not talking about you need to build your business to 50 people, 100 people, 2,000 people. Not that. My challenge with entrepreneurs comes in at a point where the entrepreneur is busy doing everything by himself or herself, and while they're busy doing everything themselves, what's not happening in the business is consistency of action. Okay, like say for example, classic small and medium businesses will relate to this. Okay. Here's typically what happens in a small and medium business. Either they're solo or they have a team, but the team is not capable. Okay,
so just people sitting around.
Yeah, everything is dependent on the entrepreneur. So what happens in an environment like that? While these businesses are working on a month-to-month survival mode, where they are only looking at how can I make enough money to pay salaries on time, rent on time, EMI on time, and take some money home, then what happens is, say you run out of leads, you have no inquiries in the pipeline. The team comes to the boss and says, boss, we don't have any inquiries in the pipeline, we don't have any leads. The entrepreneur wears a Superman cape and starts doing marketing. He either goes and does email marketing, takes out all his email IDs of the past and rolls out an offer, or makes calls personally, or goes to referral networking organizations. So he's doing everything by himself, generates a lead, then says this is the most critical lead, let me go to sales now. So from marketing he's jumping into sales. Now while he's jumping into sales, marketing is not happening. From sales converts the customer, then says it's the most important customer.
Jumps into production.
Jumps into production and operations. What's happening to marketing and sales is not happening consistently. So for any business at the basic level to be stable, you need marketing to happen consistently, you need sales to happen consistently, you need operations to happen consistently, R&D needs to happen consistently, and management needs to happen consistently. Now, one person cannot do it consistently. Okay? And entrepreneurs have a bad habit of doing things only when there is a crisis. They feel good about it.
Right, you save the building.
Yeah, you feel like a superhero. But the problem with the superhero's life is there's no romance, there's only crisis. Okay, there's no growth. There's not a growth game. It's a survival game.
How in the hell is that still standing? There's an actual gap there. Okay, man.
I think Jenga wants us to go on.
Okay. This is a question I have generally about the startup ecosystem in India. Like you said earlier, a lot of people just throw money at startups because it's a fashion statement nowadays. But a big issue in the country is that we've got this level of unemployment that's just not going away. So if you keep building more efficient startups, or just keep moving away from the traditional model of employees, rat race as you called it, is that not dangerous? Shouldn't we have a contained startup ecosystem rather than a rampant one that just everyone joins for no reason?
So here's the thing. I don't think containing anything is ever healthy. Okay, I think we should let it flow, because on what basis will you decide who deserves to and who doesn't deserve to, right? It's a free market. It has to continue to be a free market.
So you are a big pro free market guy?
Absolutely. Okay. Having said that, the only kind of support system I'd like startups to have is a stronger support system on knowledge and know-how. I'm very pro the initiatives the government is taking. Like just 3 days back, there was this MSME scheme launched by the Prime Minister saying that up to 1 crore you can get a loan, which is great. And along with that, I think what really needs to be brought in is more emphasis on entrepreneurial education. Simple topics. People don't know how to create a business model. People don't know how to market their business. Okay, for most people, marketing today is just restricted to the traditional means of telemarketing, field marketing, or the new fad of social media marketing, or being a part of business networks. And I think that those are exhausted and over-exhausted options, and obviously social media has a lot more that keeps getting explored. But I think there's genuine lack of knowledge and know-how in entrepreneurs about how to market their business, how to build sales teams, how to set up operations process. So if I think more education around entrepreneurship can be brought in, that would be great. And at the same time, say, I think a huge shift we are going to see, and I'm predicting this, is that colleges are going to move out of traditional curriculums into skill-based education, which means or job-based education.
So technical schools.
Yes, I think that's a more practical option, because here's the funny part. If you walk into a conference which has entrepreneurs sitting there and you ask people to raise their hands if they have a challenge in finding the right people for the job, you will see 99% of the room lifting their hand. That one person will not lift it, not because because they have the talent pool available, because they're just lazy to lift their hand. Okay, but 99% will raise their hand saying, "Hey, I am not able to find the right talent," which means what? There is a need.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you're talking about this problem of unemployment, which is funny. So the missing link is employable people with capabilities.
What you were talking about earlier, the colleges are more interested in pools and
exactly. So I think if we go more job oriented, okay, and develop skills and know-how around the job, okay, then I think we could bridge this gap of unemployment. And at the same time, if entrepreneurs are more empowered with knowledge, then obviously they are going to race ahead, because I have seen this for a fact that working with more than 5,000 entrepreneurs now across 168 different industries and sectors, there is no industry and sector where you cannot make money. Okay, because here's the other one, the favorite one of entrepreneurs who are not making money. In my business, you can't make money. People come up to me and say that with so much conviction. My only question to them is, why are you doing the business?
What is the point?
But there's a joy and suffering, right? People enjoy the joy and suffering. Right?
That's a particularly Indian thing.
So it's जैसे दर्द में भी मजा है. People love whining, right? But there are the proactive entrepreneurs who are, say, going out there and acquiring the skills.
Right. They
understand that, hey, listen, whatever I've done in my business is out of my own intelligence, and I've brought it to whatever stage. Now, if I want to go to the next level, I need know-how. And they're proactive about acquiring that know-how. They race ahead. The rest continue crying and whining, which is going to be the case in any market. Right?
Yeah. All right. I'm going to do a little bit of crying and whining right now, because I think I'm done.
I think we're going to collapse soon.
This is the only one I can even think of, because you've already pulled out one end. If this stays up, I will be very, very happy.
Nah, it's coming down. It's coming down.
God damn it. Oh well.
So I am